Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Israelite Advanced Bible Study for Tuesday night, February 27th, 28th, 2023. We'll be in the book of Enoch, breaking down chapter 10 and 11 for the topic for the study. I'm asking everybody to go to our, okay, give me a minute. Yeah, go to our website, check out our videos. We got a lot of information over there, and videos will lead you into the truth of the scriptures, what they're actually saying. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. And for those that don't know, this is the non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by the Lord of Hosts. Shalom and welcome to this non-Messianic channel, Prophets of Awakening, and welcome to our Advanced Bible Study. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, the Psalms, current events, and do a little need-to-know information. Then we go to the Q&A. Then we go into the topic of the class, which is reading out of the book of Enoch. Okay? This moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay? Oh Lord, we thank you for your great mercy and your great power and your wisdom. And we tired of waiting for your powerful deliverance of your people Israel. Oh Lord, you have given us insight into the scriptures of our forefathers, and you, O Lord, has directed us to who you are in your role and goings on of heaven and earth. Oh Lord, we you spoke through your prophet Isaiah and said that you would help Abraham's seed that you had scattered. And you have completed that promise as of this day. And you said, oh Lord, that you would remove the darkness from around us. Tarry not, O Lord, for the latter days are here. And we are waiting and watching for you. Peace be unto you. Okay. I'm going to read the Psalms. Okay. Psalm 113. It's God's mercies are many. Praise ye the Lord. Praise ye, O ye servants of the Lord. Praise the name of the Lord. Blessed be the name of the Lord from this time forth and forevermore. From the rising of the sun to the going down, the same, the Lord's name is to be praised. The Lord is high above all nations, and his glory above the heavens. Who is likened unto the Lord, our God, who dwelleth on high, who humbleth himself to behold the things that are in heaven and in the earth. He raises up the poor, out of the dust, lifteth up the needy out of the dunghill, that he may set him with princes, even with the prince of his people. He maketh the barren woman to keep house, and to be a joyful mother of children. Praise ye the Lord. So this is Psalms I just read, Psalms 113. God, our mercies are many. In verse 7 says, he raises up the poor out of the dust, and he lifts up the needy out of the dunghill. And 8, that he may set him with princes, even with the princes of his people. So when you read verse 8, it reminds me of the story of Joseph, how he raised Joseph up to live among princes in Egypt. Okay? Any comments on that? Okay. So with that being said, we're going to go to the current events. All right.
Launched an investigation into horrible abuse that happened to 2 black Mississippi men by sheriff's deputies. Now, the men and their attorneys claimed the pair was handcuffed, beaten, shocked with tasers, and subject to waterboarding techniques by Rankin County Sheriff's deputies. Michael Corey Jenkins was shot in the mouth and had to undergo surgery to remove his tongue. And so the sheriff's office said the deputies were in the middle of a narcotics investigation when he raided the home of where Jenkins and Eddie Terrell Parker were staying on January 24th. Now, his attorney, Malik Shabazz, says neither men had drugs, and the deputies also accused them of dating white women. Boy, I tell you, that's so played out with a lot of brothers these days, even on a good day. Now, I said Parker says 6 white deputies handcuffed him and made them get on their knees and put them through a hellish 90 minutes. And say he ended with one of the deputies sticking the barrel of a gun in Jenkins' mouth and squeezing the trigger. The bullet shot through his ears. Shabazz denied allegations that his clients were involved in drug dealing. He said he claims the deputies barged into the home without any warrant and immediately subdued and handcuffed both men before launching a free-for-all intimidation and abuse session. Now, said Parker said the deputies punched, kicked, slapped, and took turns using tasers on them. Oh, I believe it. That's Mississippi. We know these white supremacists and who they are. Now, I said Rankin County race soldiers repeatedly pointed guns to the heads and mouths and threatened to delete the terrified Jenkins and Parker, all while both men offered no resistance, according to Malik Shabazz. Now, I said Parker also told the Associated Press that they were ordered to lie on their backs while deputies poured milk over their faces. He said he struggled to keep breathing and keep from drowning at the same time. So there was milk coming, I said, out of my nose, my mouth. He said, I've never been in that position and felt the way that I felt that night. Now, the men's legal team says their civil rights were violated. So deputies, tried to make the men believe they were drowning in order to elicit a confession, from Jenkins and Parker. They say the attorneys are demanding the officers who participated in the incident be charged, with attempted deletion, aggravated assault, conspiracy, and criminal civil rights violations. And so they are also calling for the release of the body camera footage and all official reports, related to the incident. Well, let me tell you this. None of this surprised me. Mississippi, Alabama, and all those places like that, they have the most evil of the white supremacists there because they fester a culture of ignorance. And the level of ignorance with those people is through the roof. Now, I know racism, white supremacy is through all America, is nowhere that is not located, okay? So it's not just Mississippi or Alabama, but you have certain hot spots where the white supremacists are more vicious, more vile, more evil than others. Because certain white supremacists, they feel a certain way, but they're not going to take things that far. Some of them, enact their white supremacy through public policy or different things like that, try to cover up what they're actually doing. But with this situation here, and a brother, had to get part of his tongue cut out of his mouth because this white supremacist race soldier shot him, and you wonder why black people don't like the police. You wonder why. When they do things like this to black people. And they only do it because they can get away with it because the qualified immunity they get away with. You understand? The qualified immunity. They constantly get away with all the time. Now, when y'all went out there to vote back in 2020, y'all told Joe Biden that y'all want qualified immunity taken away from these race soldiers, and he did nothing. He still haven't done nothing. And he told y'all he's not going to take away a qualified immunity before even the election, and y'all still ran out there and voted for him because if you didn't vote for him, you wasn't black. And yet black people still dealing with the same issues and problems, but y'all said that, we got to get Trump out. And y'all got him out, and look at what's happening to black folks right now. Like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just our people are treated the most horrible of ways in this country. And we can do something about it. We can do something about it on an economic level. We can even do something about it on a political level. But we're nothing like our ancestors because our ancestors didn't look at a Democrat party to solve their problems. They figured out ways to solve their problems on their own. And we're not like that today, unfortunately.
Okay, any comments on that?
Shalom. That's something. I mean, I guess I want to call it the Jim Crow policing.
Okay.
Nothing has changed, and we
Okay.
see that this
Right.
is intentional stuff that is happening. You have
Right.
to see we getting out of here soon.
Right. Right.
So, listen, everyone wants to know why the Euphrates River is still a topic of discussion, still a trending topic of discussion. It's simple. It's because of its association to religion. That association to Christians and what it means to them if it dries up is what keeps this a topic of discussion. So we're going to check it out again today. If you're new, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, join the fam, and let's learn something. Here we go. It's World War what? Over water.
There is no water because it was cut off from Turkey. They put dams on the river and cut off supplies.
The Euphrates River is Western Asia's longest river. The river has 3 riparian countries, Iraq, Syria, and Turkey, while its basin is shared by 5 countries with a total estimated population of 23 million people. But things aren't looking good for the river. Scientists are shocked by how quickly it's disappearing. More serious than the declining water flow are prophecies associated with the Euphrates drying up in the world's major religions. Many Christians are keeping an eye on the Euphrates River, which is virtually dry, and has a Bible verse related with it that mentions 4 fallen angels after it has dried up. So, is the historical Euphrates River drying up because of the imminent fulfillment of the passages in Revelation, or is there another factor we should be aware of? And what does this mean for humanity's fate? Stick around till the end to find out all about this latest revelation. Many civilizations have thrived.
I see what they did there with the wordplay, the latest revelation. I see what they did there, or what they tried to do.
To find out all about this latest revelation. Many civilizations have thrived along the banks of the Euphrates, particularly in ancient times. One of the most notable civilizations was the Mesopotamian Empire. The Fertile Crescent region of ancient Mesopotamia was located between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. That part of the world is now known as Iraq. The river is the longest in Western Asia, stretching 1,740 miles. It originates in eastern Turkey and flows to the Persian Gulf. Along the way, it passes through Turkey, Syria, and Iraq. The Euphrates River flows through a variety of vegetation zones. Despite the fact that millennia of human occupation have significantly altered the landscape in most areas of the Euphrates Basin, remnants of ancient flora survive. Although it may be difficult to believe given the current state of the river, this stretch of the river was once a model of water management in Babylon.
I'll tell you a story right now that just happened yesterday. So we have a client, my brother.
While marching through Babylon, Cyrus the Great's army came to the canals built between the Tigris and Euphrates to circulate the latter's waters, which would otherwise drown the entire adjacent country when the snows melted on the Armenian mountains. Great canals the size of rivers ran parallel to the Tigris and Euphrates, and dozens more intersected the valley connecting the 2 streams. There wasn't a single part of the country that wasn't well watered. The canals were also used for crop transportation. The river was also used by religious warriors to spread Islam throughout the Middle East. The Prophet Muhammad's son-in-law, Ali ibn Abi Talib, relocated the capital of his caliphate from Medina to Kufa on the Euphrates, south of Babylon, in AD 656.
I don't know why I have this feeling like a strong sense of they're about to blame humans, about to blame mankind on it's drying up in this video. I don't know. And I could be completely wrong, but it just feels like that's where he's kind of headed. I hope not.
Medina to Kufa on the Euphrates, south of Babylon, in AD 656. Kufa's fertile wheat, date palm, rice, and other crop fields stretched for miles on both banks. For millennia, right up to the present day, the Euphrates has been at the heart of many Iraqi cities' identities. Take, for example, Fallujah, whose strategic location on the river drew a slew of invaders ranging from the Persians to the Romans, who attacked Fallujah in the 3rd century AD. On their way to the Mediterranean, caravans from Arabia stopped in Fallujah to water their camels in the river. However, experts' predictions for the river are bleak. According to research by the country's water ministry, the Euphrates and Tigris rivers in Iraq will run dry within 2 decades if no action is taken. Unfortunately, these two rivers constitute up to 98% of Iraq's surface water supply. Indeed, Iraq may become a land without rivers as early as 2040. On the great river, the Euphrates, and its water was dried up, so that the way would be prepared for the kings from the east, the chapter says. The sixth angel, according to this scripture, poured his bowl into the Euphrates River. The contents of the bowl caused the river to dry up. Previous bowl decisions have polluted or destroyed the majority of the world's water. This judgment is not intended to tarnish or eliminate the use of this water. Rather, it appears to be about destroying a defensive barrier in order to allow invading kings from the east to pass through. The Bible refers to the Euphrates as the Great River 5 times. It indicated the eastern boundary of Israel's heritage. The river provided some safety for Israel because it was difficult to cross, and a wilderness to the west separated Israel from the promised land of Canaan. It runs approximately 2,000 miles towards Palestine before turning southeast toward the Persian Gulf. The Euphrates separated east from west when Revelation was written in the 1st century, and the kingdoms of China and India lay beyond it to the east. Cyrus of Persia's armies captured Babylon centuries ago by diverting the Euphrates River, which ran through the city. They marched into Babylon and took the city on the dry riverbed. The eastern invader will cross the Euphrates, march into Babylon, and enter Palestine during the Great Tribulation. Release the 4 angels who are bound at the great river Euphrates, says the 6th angel with the trumpet in Revelation 9:14. What does this mean exactly? This is the voice that John hears issuing from the 4 horns of the golden altar, as described in Exodus 27:2. This voice directs the 6th angel who wields the trumpet to liberate the 4 angels imprisoned at the Euphrates River, which served as a historic border between Assyria and Israel. Revelation reminds us that God is ultimately in control of these events, authorizing or announcing each one. Evil is never allowed to run entirely rampant in the end times. Because they are bound, we know they are demonic beings. Demons are fallen angels who are frequently enslaved by chains of gloomy darkness. The Euphrates Valley, where these 4 angels are imprisoned, has a shady history with a human evil. The first murder was most likely perpetrated in the Euphrates Valley near the Garden of Eden. Recently, rumors of mysterious sounds heard from the depths of the drying river have circulated, possibly to legitimize this passage. This strengthens people's ideas that...
Whoa, they're discovering sounds and... Hold on, say that again. What?
Recently, rumors of mysterious sounds heard from the depths of the drying river have circulated, possibly to legitimize this passage. This strengthens people's ideas that current events foreshadow Christ's second coming to conquer his enemies and build his heavenly kingdom. People have begun to express their concerns, noting that they never expected to see revelations make any sense at all. While biblical prophecy is the most compelling idea concerning the river, other hypotheses link current occurrences along the Euphrates to political goals and climate change.
Okay, any comments on that? Anybody heard anything about that?
Wow, yeah, I remember that last year sometime they was talking about that, and then also was talking about with it drying up that it was revealing underground cities that have been buried. Yeah, I remember a little bit about that.
Yeah, when it come to that, the Mississippi drying up.
Yes, sir, it is.
Is this something? Okay. Yeah, we got some need to know information right here. So this is pretty interesting right here. This kind of going along with the lesson. Okay.
All right. Angels worse than demons in the Bible. Now, for some strange reason, you know what song popped into my head? Pastor Troy, Vice Versa. Sorry, that's just a down south Georgia boy in me. You know what I mean? If you know, you know. But we're gonna get into this video. So if you knew, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Join the fam. Let's learn something.
Hi, it's Katrina. My friend David is going to be helping me out with the voiceover today, so everyone give him a warm welcome.
Number 10. The Watchers. The Watchers appear multiple times throughout various books of the Bible. In the book of Daniel, the Watchers are holy ones who reside in heaven. Daniel described how a Watcher told him the evil King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon would eat grass and go insane. However, in the book of Enoch, an apocalyptic text that isn't considered biblical canon, the Watchers are fallen angels. Enoch describes how a group of angels known as Watchers are tasked with watching over humanity. These angels were not so holy after all. As they observe human society grow, they become jealous and full of lust. They begin desiring human women, and at the behest of their leader, the angels start procreating with them. These angels, sent by God to simply watch humanity, become intermingled with human females. They then go on to create half-human and half-angelic beings known as the Nephilim. This is where things in the Earth's history start to take a dark turn. The creatures called the Nephilim are hardly holy and not even close to human. They become savage giants that storm across the globe, pillaging and killing, endangering humanity. Taking pity on their offspring, the Watchers then agree to teach the Nephilim and the humans forbidden knowledge. They train the humans in things like sorcery, advanced technology, weaponry, and other wonders they would later use for evil. Eventually, the world is thrown into such chaos because of the lustful angels that God is forced to bring about the Great Flood. God purges the world of the Nephilim and saves only Noah so that the entire human race isn't obliterated. At the same time, God takes the Watchers and binds them in the valleys of the earth, where they are supposedly still waiting for Judgment Day. Number 9. Samyaza.
I think we just entered into an episode of Lucifer. Like, just that quick.
Samyaza is an evil angel whose name roughly translates to the...
And then, I'm going to back this up. Then all of that conversation we just had about giants, and then to hear that.
Samyaza is an evil angel whose name roughly translates to the infamous rebellion. He has been compared to Satan, although most Christian texts agree they were not the same being. Instead, Samyaza was just another of God's fallen angels who rebelled against heaven and gave forbidden knowledge to humanity. Samyaza was the leader of the Watchers in the book of Enoch, and he was responsible for allowing them to breed with humans. Samyaza orders the rebelling angels to meet atop Mount Hermon, according to the book of Enoch. This is where they begin their secret society of 200 evil angels, which are sometimes known as the Grigori. Samyaza names himself the chieftain, forsakes his allegiance to heaven, and he, along with the other Watchers, bind themselves to their treachery. They agree to do whatever it takes to satisfy their carnal desires, and they have their way with the humans. We already know that the Watchers gave their forbidden knowledge to humanity, but it was Samyaza behind the whole thing. He began an era of domination, and with Samyaza as their leader, the fallen angels and their offspring took over the world. They exploited and murdered the ordinary humans God had created because they weren't part angel. In the book of Giants, Samyaza is described as fathering Oya and Haya, a pair of Nephilim. In the same book, Samyaza suffers a different fate than in the book of Enoch. After he and his sons battle the Leviathan, they are defeated by the 4 punishing angels who slay them for their treachery against God. Number 8. Arakiel. Arakiel is the second to be mentioned of the 20 leaders of the 200 Watchers depicted in the book of Enoch. The leaders were tasked with keeping law and order over the rest of the fallen angels. Enoch describes Arakiel teaching the humans the signs of the earth, which most historians have interpreted as geomancy. In ancient days, people believed the future could be seen if one could only understand the patterns of the earth. For example, oracles could throw a handful of dirt on.
Yeah, this where the geometry and typology, all that stuff come from what these fallen angels taught from back in the day. It started in Egypt and in the Euphrates Valley, where Samaria was at.
On the ground, look at the lines and textures, and immediately understand events that were soon to come. This was the forbidden magic called geomancy, which Arakiel passed along to the humans. However, not much else about this fallen angel is known, other than that he lived during the days of the patriarch Jared, the father of Enoch, who described the events in his writings. Jared lived for 962 years, in the days when the angels of the Lord descended to the earth. Surprisingly, he isn't only a figure in the wildly controversial Book of Enoch, he's also mentioned in the Book of Genesis and the apocryphal Book of Jubilees. Number 7. Kokabeel. Kokabeel is another despicable watcher who ruined the world of men. His name translates to Star of God, and he is the fourth leader of the fallen angels. Arakiel taught geomancy to the humans, but Kokabeel revealed to them the secrets of astrology. He's an old name in biblical lore, and is believed to be the one who taught the ancient Sumerians astronomy. However, nobody knows how that would be possible, given the timeline between the imprisonment of the Watchers and the rise of modern civilization. Many religious scholars believe Kokabeel may have been inspired by a much older deity whom the Sumerians associated with cosmic knowledge. Kokabeel is described
Here I am that found this
in more detail than...
I said, here I am then found this newfound love for astrology and different things now. And now to hear it tied to this person or this fallen angel.
Many religious scholars believe Kokabeel may have been inspired by a much older deity whom the Sumerians associated with cosmic knowledge. Kokabeel is described in more detail than some of the other Watchers. He's depicted as an extraordinarily large human-like being, about as tall as the Empire State Building, which stands roughly 1,000 feet, 300 meters high. But unlike his fallen angel brethren, Kokabeel may have been asexual, with no reproductive organs and no face. However, he did have 6 black wings, just like God's seraphim. Various legends say that Kokabeel taught humans, gods, and even monsters about the stars and celestial bodies. He also showed humans how to use mathematics, chemistry, and physics to understand their evolution, as well as their origins. Some even say that his seemingly infinite knowledge of the cosmos made him go completely insane. Number 6. Penemu. The celestial being Penemu appears only in the Book of Enoch as one of God's fallen angels. However, his role in the destruction of humanity and the creation of the Nephilim is controversial. It's unclear whether he was truly an evil angel or if he was just a desperate savior of humanity. Some say Penemu didn't do any harm to humans because nowhere in the book does it say he murdered anyone or gave humans forbidden knowledge. Instead, he showed mankind the secret wisdom of reading and writing, potentially in hopes of inspiring them and leading them away from darkness. All it says in the Book of Enoch is that Penemu taught men the art of writing with ink and paper. However, it does go...
I'm going to tell you why all of this is like really messing with my head right now, right? Every one of you, I ain't going to say every one of you, but majority of us has had the thought of, okay, who was the first person to ever learn how to write or to speak words or to speak fluent English? And how did they get that knowledge? The first person to ever write us, how did they get that knowledge? The letters, the everything. Where did the knowledge come from? The first person to learn about astrology, where did the knowledge come from? You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying none of this is true. It's just interesting to hear. But if you've ever had those questions arise in your brain, and then you hear stuff like this, you're like...
Chapter 10, verse 8 reads, "The whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. All sin is ascribed to him." Number 3, Bezalel. Bezalel is the 13th Watcher described in the Book of Enoch. He's considered the angel of the shadows, sometimes referred to as the shadow of God. Most interpretations of Bezalel depict him as a kind of personified shadow, making him one of the most mysterious of all the evil angels. And because of his mystique, Bezalel was ordered by the leader of the Watchers, Samyaza, to observe all of creation and report any useful information back to him. Unfortunately, there isn't much else to say about Bezalel. Like so many minor demons, his name is very rarely mentioned in any ancient texts. He's so seemingly unimportant that many scholars have left him off the official list of the 20 most important Watchers. When theologian Robert Henry Charles translated the Book of Enoch in 1906, he didn't even mention the fallen angel. Number 2, Gadriel. One of the most despised fallen angels in the Book of Enoch is Gadriel. He taught humanity the art of using.
Still think that it takes money to make money?
Mathematics, something that would have been a pretty big deal 4,000 years ago when the book was supposedly authored. Some have blamed Gadriel for bringing the knowledge of vanity into the world and how a person can change their face using cosmetics. Gadriel was also the fallen angel who showed humans how to use weapons and taught them how to wage war against one another. Like many of the
Another question I had, where do we get that knowledge from? They just hitting me all in the stomach right now.
other fallen angels, Gadriel had 12 black wings and was massive in size. He also had ageless beauty and looked like a smooth marble statue. His hair was bright blonde, almost golden, and his eyes shined an intense shade of red. The corrupted angel Gadriel was said to be the original guardian of the Garden of Eden, charged with keeping unwanted guests out before Archangel Uriel took over the position. Number 1, Shamziel. Shamziel is described as the 16th leader of the Watchers that followed Samyaza into darkness and betrayal. His name means son of God, and he was responsible for teaching men and the Nephilim the songs of the sun. He lived during the days of Enoch's father Jared, and appears in a lot of religious texts and ancient legends. It's believed Shamziel may share mythological basis with Shamash, who was the Babylonian god of the sun. Many people aren't aware that a lot of pagan gods are based on some of the worst demons in the Bible. Gods worshipped by the Canaanites, the Babylonians, the Sumerians, and even the Egyptians were most likely some of these evil fallen angels. As a way for early Christians to discourage the worship of pagan deities, scholars believe they started turning them into demons. As the years went on, many old gods like Shamash lost their credibility and were demoted to minor entities in biblical tales. In the
Okay. Anybody got any comments? Yeah, anybody got any comments on that? Okay, let's see. What you got?
Brother Leonard, I just have a question. Did he say Gabriel?
Nah, it's in
Who?
Gadriel.
Oh, okay.
Gadriel, yeah.
Okay.
All those angels is in
The book of Enoch.
yeah, they listed in there. But
Okay.
the thing about the reason why I was playing it was if you go to Jubilees, the Most High with the Israelites when he would send them into captivity, he always left a remnant of the giants there. I mean, a remnant of the Israelites in the land. So that's what you call right. He called righteousness like with the angels. He left they said 20 out of the 200 was leaders.
Mm-hmm.
They was it was a leader over every 10 angels. It was a leader. All of them was leaders, but you had leaders over leaders. And so those ones he was just naming are the ones that was the leaders, the ones that reaped the punishment, and for what they did. Like Shemzaza and Aziel was over all of them, and he put the punishment on them because they was the leaders over the leaders. And then and you notice that he was talking about Mamster, but that angel was in Jubilees. That's the one that tricked Abraham, trying to get Abraham to kill Isaac.
Okay.
So we see that they can show themselves as angels of light, but they wicked as hell.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So that's 10%. 20 angels out of 200 is 10%.
10%.
A remnant. Yeah.
Mm.
I was trying to see right here what what's his name is saying when it comes to China buying up all the water, I guess, and helping out other countries, knowing that the rivers will be. Yeah, they've been doing this over last, I think, back in 2010 and all that. They've been taking those big bubbles of water. They're getting it from the Great Lakes region. Getting those big old giant bubbles of water, transporting them to China. So everything you see going on now, it ain't just started. It's been started. We starting to come into the light. The knowledge starting to be spread, but they've been preparing for everything we see going on now. I mean, just Google it. Those trying to transport water. They got these big old rubber like balloon things full of water. They're getting them out of the Great Lakes and they transport them across the ocean. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna open it up for some Q&A. Anybody got any questions or comments about anything over the weekend, over Shabbat? They were studying. They want to bring it up and talk about it. Okay.
I just have a little brief comment right quick because Sister Tasha has shared a video with me, right, on the Nephilim. So I was doing a little bit more research. And in some of the research, I ran across, articles when it was speaking of the Nephilims, right? And they were saying, calling them a group of mysterious people.
Right.
It's like they're trying to cover up and hide the fact that there were giants.
Right.
Because I'm not understanding why would you call them mysterious people?
Boy, that's their way of covering you over and things. Like I say, all the drama that you see on the earth, and especially with Israelites, all the division that's going on is these insiders, Esau and them bringing people in, stirring up controversy, bringing up information, knowing that it's not legitimate, to keep everybody in, keep everybody in confusion of faith. Like I said, I was watching something today. This guy was talking about the fallen angels, and he was saying how that in seminary all over. So when you understand the Catholic Church, the Esau, they controlling all that when it comes to the Sunday school books and everything you get in the seminaries. So they started a long time ago that in Genesis 6, when they say the sons of God came down into the daughters of men, they saying those were self children, Sethians, self children, self descendants. But we know that's a lie from the pits of hell because we got Israelites not going into women. We ain't getting no giants.
Right.
Whoever these sons of God was, when they went into women, they brought about giants, and the giants was tall and they was destructive. So we men sleeping with women now. We ain't getting no giants. No 10, 15, 20-foot giants that's vicious, eating people.
Yeah, they came up.
Yeah. So they had to take that out because of like when anybody that's writing about the scriptures, he punished. We see well in the video, and that's what we're gonna read in Genesis chapter 10 and 11, is that he punished those angels for crossing that line. Whether they laid or overshadowed the woman or whatever, they still got them pregnant. However they did it. So we see they got punished for it. Eternal punishment. They couldn't even be redeemed. They went to Enoch and tried to get Enoch to redeem them, asked the Lord to hope for redemption, and he wouldn't give them no redemption. So they had to tamper with that because it kills the story in the New Testament about the angels overshadowing Mary. So that's why they got to take that out of the equation, like I was saying before. And so they didn't do, at the time when they did all this stuff, it was good, like I said, because the educational level of the people, the population, the majority of the population, people was illiterate. It was just like I said, all the kings and the princes and the royals and the aristocrats, the one that had access to books and libraries. The normal people, it wasn't like it is now. Everybody now know, they ain't had no education. They couldn't read. But that's what he means now when he said knowledge is going to increase, because now everybody got, or at least a basic education. So could it be spirits of Netherlands that are in that goes into the people here today that causes some of them to be born disfigured and people to be some of it is, but like I was saying before, uh, in Second Samuel, the defects, we know the Creator formed the man from the dust of the ground. Ain't it wasn't no defects on him, because he said it was perfect. Noah was perfect. So if Noah was perfect, all his forefathers for him was perfect. It's when the intermingling started from these people that they didn't come from the Yahweh. That's what they didn't. That's how they didn't hoodwink everybody off, tricked everybody off. So, and he told us don't mingle with them because they orgies where they came from. So, angelic DNA mixed with human DNA, that's where you get defects from, and all this different Down syndrome and psychotics and all that stuff is that originally when they mixed with them, like I was saying, deformed, humpbacks, all that it came from that. That's why the Most High told us don't mingle with them. And like I said before, with go back and read the story of David and Goliath. Goliath was a giant, but he had. You look at any picture, any story, or any movie they make, them giants they ain't right. They disfigured. They got strength, but they disfigured, knock kneed, and all kind of stuff. So he was trying to coach David into coming close near him, because he wasn't agile. He's trying to get him to coerce him to come close to him where he can see him. First of all, he can see him, and then where he can get his hands on him, because he wasn't apt. He wasn't too apt. And so that's where all that come from those giants, and the disability. I mean, the disobedience of those angels. And then not only that, their molecular makeup is not the same as human molecular makeup. And when the two come together, you get defections and you get altered stuff. They get some parts of it which is supernatural, like levitation, different stuff like that. But the majority of it was it was elements, blind and all that. Yeah, and we still see that today. Over in a lot of those countries, especially like in those ancient countries in Europe, and Europe, but in India and all that, you see these kids born with 8 legs and 2 arms and 2 heads and all that. That's come from when those angels came down and intermingled. That wasn't authorized by the Most High. Let's see what's going on. Okay, let's deal with that. Yeah. So anybody else got anything on that? Okay, I'm gonna play this right here. I thought it was pretty interesting. Let me get it.
Man after God's own heart. Number 1. David genuinely repented. What was so special about David?
Yeah, so the thing is why was David called? Why did the Lord of hosts say David was a man after his own heart? So they are going over some points I thought I could elaborate on, shine light on.
David, that God singled him out, anointed him, sent his salvation through his lineage, and called him a man after his heart. Jesus is fondly called the Son of David throughout the New Testament as proof that God had a precious bond with David during his lifetime. Of course, God loves all of creation, and even proved it by sending Jesus to pay the price for our redemption. But certain people stand out in the Bible as friends of God, and David is definitely one of them. David was the least of all his father's sons.
Yeah, so keep in mind, this is one of those subliminal things. Like I said, they went and got literary geniuses like Josephus and Sir Francis Bacon when they concocted this. So you notice how they keep on. David is we know David has a special place with the Lord of Hosts and with heaven and all that. So they tried to connect Jesus when they concocted him with David. But the story is that uh, Joseph didn't sleep with Mary. The angel overshadowed Mary. So David and Jesus, that's two different. That's going down two different roads. But notice what they're doing. They're trying to keep on trying to associate David with Jesus, but he ain't come from David. Because the story is that he overshadowed Mary. They had to put that in there that he overshadowed Mary, that he was immaculately conceived, because Horus was immaculately conceived. That's where they getting. That's what it's predicated off of. Horus.
And was even considered irrelevant in his own family. Yet God chose to walk with him intimately and enabled him to do great things in his generation. We can look at critical traits of David's life that may give us answers. Was God drawn to David because he was guiltless and sinless? Of course not. David, the man who is a role model to so many today, actually committed some of the vilest sins, from adultery to murder. Yet his remorseful and repentant heart can be seen clearly in Psalm 51. Have mercy on me, O God, according to your unfailing love, according to your great compassion, blot out my transgressions. Wash away all my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. For I know my transgressions, and my sin is always before me. Against you, you only have I sinned and done what is evil in your sight.
So let's look at that. So David said that when he reading, he said David, all the Psalms is David's relationship with the Lord of Hosts. But like I said, you see how they got them brainwashed everybody, got them thinking that they're associating the Psalms with Jesus. But the Psalms ain't got nothing to do with Jesus. It's got to do with David's relationship and with the Lord of Hosts. So let's look at what David just said. David just said he just asked. Everybody think it's Yahweh, but what I didn't show everybody on Prophets of Awakening, it ain't Yahweh. So he just said, blot out my transgressions, right? So let's look at it. He just asked the Lord to blot his transgression out. What he done in the past? What he done with Bathsheba? You know, and how he killed Uriah. The God that he dealing with, he knew he had the ability to blot that out. His sins, right? So we in Zechariah right quick. We'll see who it is he's talking to. Okay? I'm in Zechariah chapter 3. Chapter 3, verse 1. Okay? He says, this is Zechariah chapter 3, verse 1. And he showed me Joshua, the high priest, standing before the angel of the Lord, and Satan standing at his right hand to resist him. And the Lord said unto Satan, this Lord is the angel, right? We see that in verse 1. And the Lord said unto Satan, the Lord rebuke thee, O Satan, even the Lord that hath chosen Jerusalem rebuke thee. Is not this a brand plucked out of the fire? Now Joshua was clothed with a filthy garment and stood before the angel. So he's standing before the angel, not Yahweh and not Jesus. So he says, and he answered and spake unto those that stood by the angel. And the angel answered and spake unto those that stood by him, saying, take away the filthy garment from him. And unto him he said, behold, the angel said this, behold, I have caused thine iniquity to pass from thee, and I will cause thee, I will clothe thee with a change of garment. And he said, let them set a pharmacia upon his head. So they set a pharmacia upon his head and clothed him with a garment, and the angel of the Lord stood by. So we see right here, this angel just told Joshua, I didn't blotted out all your sins, all your transgressions. I done blotted them out. He had an ability. This is who David talking to, right here in the verse, in the chapter. Let's look at it.
Psalm 51. Have mercy.
Let's look at it. Psalm 51. Psalm 51 says, prayer for cleansing. See that? So he says, have mercy upon me, O God. This is the angel. Said just blotted out the sins from Zechariah, or from Joshua. Says, have mercy upon me, O God, according to thy loving kindness, according to the multitude of thy tender mercies. Blot out my transgressions. Wash me, right? Thoroughly from mine iniquities, and cleanse me from my sin. And we see right over in Zechariah, this way he did the same thing David asked him to do right there. He did it with Josiah. And not Josiah, but Jeshua. So he says right here in verse 4, he answered and spake unto me, unto those that stood by him, saying, take away the filthy garments from him. And unto him he said, behold, I have caused thy iniquity, that sin, to pass from thee, and I will clothe thee with a change of garment. So he cleaned him up, took away his sin, and cleaned him up. That's what David asked him, the same angel, do the same thing for him. Okay? So we're looking at. And this is what they did. This is how they tricked us all.
On me, O God, according to your unfailing love, according to your great compassion, blot out my transgressions. Wash away all my iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. For I know my transgressions, and my sin is always before me. Against you, you only have I sinned and done what is evil in your sight. So you are right in your verdict and justified when you judge. Cleanse me with hyssop, and I will be clean. Wash me, and I will be whiter than snow. Hide your face from my sins and blot out all my iniquity. Create in me a pure...
So let's look at that. Okay, bring back, refresh some people's memory right quick. So when they was on Mount Sinai, didn't he tell them to tell the priest to go wash themselves? So they talking about something else, but he actually telling them, go clean yourself up, go wash yourself, change your garments. And so David just said, wash me with hyssop. What you do with hyssop? Anybody know what to do with hyssop? It's like a soap, ain't it? Something you use to clean yourself with, right? Okay. Play a little more of that. We go into class.
Your heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Do not cast me from your presence or take your Holy Spirit from me. Restore to me the joy of your salvation and grant me a willing spirit to sustain me. He did not pretend he did nothing wrong when the prophet Nathan confronted him about his wicked actions, but admitted his wrongdoings. Number 2. David was faithful and loyal. From David's story, it is evident that his job description was to manage the family's livestock, and even though he wasn't appreciated, he stayed on that job. He served his family faithfully and diligently until the set time that God sent Samuel to anoint him in his father's house. 1 Samuel 16 verses 1 to 13, King James Version, gives us an insight into what he was doing before God found him. And the Lord said unto Samuel, How long wilt thou mourn for Saul, seeing I have rejected him from reigning over Israel? Fill thine horn with oil, and go. I will send thee to Jesse the Bethlehemite, for I have provided me a king among his sons. David was a dedicated young man. It doesn't matter how much we feel God should use us significantly in his kingdom until we are dedicated to our present tasks. The Father constantly seeks caring servants to guide his children, fulfill his plans, and improve the world. We can deceive others by being men-pleasers when they are watching, but this can't happen in our relationship with God, as no one can fake their way into his heart. Talk is often easy and cheap. but our positive actions point to a glorious future. If we are diligent like David, our eyes will always be open to see opportunities where we can be blessings and not burdens to others. Of course, this is why God's power was always...
So the fun thing with the serpent is, how does a serpent talk?
Ways revealed to him in a powerful way, and he was delivered again and again. When a person is faced with challenges, the typical reaction is to moan or complain about the situation. Pondering on these enormous and overwhelming challenges only brings discouragement and can lead to depression, because what we magnify will always look bigger than it is. Our state of mind enlarges these issues so much that they engulf our every waking moment. They affect not only our normal reactions, but also our self-esteem. David is called a man after God's own heart because he had absolute faith in God. No place in the Bible illustrates this point better than 1 Samuel 17, which recounts how David bravely slew the Philistine Goliath when he was still a young shepherd boy. David had a firm conviction from a young age that God was worthy of their trust and obedience. According to what is written in the Bible, God was pleased by David's faith, and as a result, God rewarded David for his faithfulness. It is not difficult to see that he has the utmost reverence for the Word of God. It is also important to note how David meditates on the laws of God. Through David's consistent meditation practice, God bestowed understanding and wisdom upon him. Because God delights in it when we give him our thoughts, we would do well to read the Bible and think about what it says as the day goes on. Number 5. David was thankful. David was a man after God's heart in that he was genuinely thankful. Psalm 26 verses 6 to 7. I will wash my hands in innocence, and I will go about your altar, O Lord, that I may proclaim with the voice of thanksgiving and declare all your wonders. There were times in David's life when he was filled with fear and despair, and there are also times when he was filled with great peace and prosperity. But despite the many changes in his life, he never stopped to forget to thank the Lord for everything he possessed. It is without question one of David's most admirable qualities. Psalm 100, a psalm for giving grateful praise. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyous songs. Know that the Lord is God. It is he who made us, and we are his. It would benefit us as followers of Jesus Christ to follow.
Okay. Any comments? Okay. Anybody got any comments on that? Or any questions before we go into I'm going to read out of the book of Enoch, chapter 10. Packed with information, so I'm going to shine light on that. Okay. We're in the book of Enoch, chapter 10. Okay. Okay, it says, then said the Most High, the Holy and Great One, and he sent Uriel to the son of Lamech and said to him, Go to Noah and tell him in my name, hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a deluge is about to come upon the whole earth, and will destroy all that is on it. So if you look at this right here, he sent Uriel to go tell Lamech that the flood was coming. Right? It's not the end of the world. It's a flood coming. So the reason why I'm showing you this right here is because if you go to the book of Daniel, you're gonna see the same thing. And it's big, because if you don't understand that, then you're all off on Prim Road. So I'm in Daniel right quick. book of Daniel, chapter. Daniel chapter 8. Let me get my other Bible. Daniel chapter 8. So it says, this is the interpretation of the dream Daniel had of the ram and the he-goat. I'm in verse 18. Well, I start at verse 15. And it came to pass when even I, Daniel, had seen the vision, sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man. This is Gabriel. And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulaya, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man understand the vision. So he came near where I stood. This is Gabriel came near where I stood. And when he came, I was afraid. I fell on my face. But he said unto me, understand, O son of man, for the time of the end shall be the vision. This is not the end of the world. Just like he just sent Uriel to go to Lamech and tell him the deluge, the flood coming. But we know it ain't the end of the world because we here now. So he telling Daniel right here, verse 17. So he came near where I stood, and when he came, I was afraid. I fell on my face, but he said unto me, understand, son of man, for the time of the end shall be the vision. This is the end of Israel as a nation. Like I said, now, as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground, but he touched me and set me upright, and he said, behold, I will make thee know what shall be in the last end of indignation, for the time appointed the end shall be. So, just the Most High, the Lord of hosts, indignation with Israel. It came to a full, so he's going to destroy, he's going to cause abomination to make it desolate. He's going to use Antiochus to do that. He's going to destroy the temple. Same thing over here. And you go back to the book of Enoch, right? I'm in chapter 10, and it's starting out verse 1. Then said the Most High, the Holy Great One spake, and sent Uriel to the son of Lamech, and he said to him, go to Noah and tell him, in my name hide thyself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and the deluge is about to come upon the whole earth, and it will destroy all that is on it. So that's the flood. And at the end of the world, the Most High indignation that came to a full, just like it came to a full with Israel, the nation of Israel. We cast them out. That's what we owe. That's why we where we at now, scattered all over the place. You got tired of messing with us. Same thing right here. So, verse 3, and now instruct him that he may escape, and his seed may be preserved for all the generations of the world. And again, the Lord said to Raphael, bind Aziel, hand and foot, cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is in Dudal, and cast him therein. So when you read that, you can see right here, these other dimensions besides the dimension that we in right here. So he says, verse 4, again the Lord said to Raphael, these angels got the ability to do that. They interdimensional beings. Bind Aziel, hand and foot, cast him into darkness. That's another dimension. And make an opening in the desert, which is in Dudal, and cast him therein. It's another dimension. Okay, 5. And place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him abide there forever, and cover his face, that he may not see light. And on the day of the great judgment, he shall be cast into the fire. Then says, and notice he talking to Raphael, right? In verse 4, he said, again, the Lord said to Raphael, well, Raphael means healing. He's the God of healing. So he says down here in verse 6, and heal the earth, which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim healing of the earth, that he may heal the plagues, and that all the children of men may not perish through all the secret things that the watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons, right? So we see right here, this is why our forefathers, was what they knew we don't know. They wanted to know the angel name. That's why Jacob, the angel he's wrestling with, he asked his name. And Samuel, mom and dad, Hannah asked what the angel's name was, because the angel, when he was created, he got certain roles they do. It's like the 200 that came down here. They brought down here what they was doing, and so that wasn't the knowledge and the crafts that they had was for heaven. It wasn't for men to be dealing with. So I want to shine a light on that, show you something, the difference in Enoch in the Old Testament and the New Testament. So in verse 6, in Enoch chapter 10, and on the day gray of the judgment, he shall be cast into the fire. And then Raphael is the one that do the healing. He says, and heal the earth which the angels have corrupted, and proclaim healing of the earth. That's Raphael's job. That's what he do. That's what his name means. So it says that they may heal the plagues, and that all the children of men may not perish through all the secret things. See that? So that's wicked as hell. Secret things. So go to the second Ezra. This is how you write the divided scriptures. So the lie they tell in the second Ezra is that he told Ezra to Ezra start speaking in other tongues, and he had some scribes with him, and they was writing down everything he said in books, right? So Ezra wrote down, he said, I think it's 50-some books that he wrote down for all the people, and then 20-some books he told Ezra to keep for secret, just for certain people. They ain't how the Most High work. That's why I don't deal with Job. But so, see right here, he says, and that all the children of men may not perish through secret things that the watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons. So the rapture. Come on, that's a secret. Ain't how the Most High work. When he talking to the prophets and he talking to our forefathers, the ones before the flood, he told Abraham, well, he was on his way to Sodom and Gomorrah, but Abraham had asked about a son. So he stopped by to talk to Abraham to tell him about his son, and then he said, well, shall I hide these things that I'm going to go do from you? No. He ain't got no secret. It's just like he ain't got no angel. He don't have no angel to overshadow no woman. He just pinned down 200 for messing with women. So he ain't bring no angel to overshadow no woman, put no spirit in no woman. Okay? So anyway, chapter 10, verse 7, it says the whole earth have been corrupted. See this? The whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel, and to him I subscribe all sin. So the secret stuff they talking about, this is what he taught them. They don't supposed to know. Most of them ain't dealing with no secrets. He ain't got no son. He created Adam. He formed Adam. Adam had Seth, and they having all kind of sons. He dealing with Seth. He dealing with Canaan. He dealing with Lamech and Jared. But he got a son, Eve. No, ain't how you work. Ain't how you work. So it says the whole time he got a son, Eve. He ain't told him about it. He ain't told Jared. Enoch was so righteous he took Enoch. But he ain't chose to tell Enoch about the son he had. Come on. That's Gentile pagan shit. Okay, chapter 8 says, and Gabriel said to the Lord, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication and the children of the watchers. See that? So they want to say the people in Genesis 6 was Seth's children. He's telling you right who they are. They're the children of the watchers. And then not only that, they born for fornication. They came into existence through lust. That's what he's talking about in 2 Samuel chapter 7. When he made the covenant with David, he said that my people, which is the Israelites that came from Adam, they're not going to be tormented no more by the children of wickedness. These children. They came about from lust and secret doings and all that. That's how they came into existence. So I'm going to read it again. Verse 8 of chapter 10 of Enoch. And Gabriel said, And to Gabriel, said the Lord, proceed against the bastards, see that? Bastards, and to the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy. See that? Destroy the children of fornication. These people ain't got nothing to do with Most High creation. And destroy the children of fornication, and the children of the watchers from among men, and cause them to go forward. So it's like a cancer. They only supposed to be here. So children, it ain't but one way to get children. You can't go drink a Dr. Pepper and get no children. There's only one way to get children. So if these children of fornication, it's illicit sex. 9, send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days shall they not have. So let's look at that. He said, turn them against each other in battle. That's what we're watching now. They gathering up now for a big battle, destroy each other. So anyway, I'm in Genesis chapter 15. Notice in Genesis 15, that's the same place where the 400-year prophecy is at. So-called 400-year prophecy of America. So let's look at it. Genesis chapter 15. Okay. I'm starting at verse, let me see, 14. This is chapter 14. Genesis chapter 14. So notice what he said, what he told him, and he told him and Enoch that he told Gabriel to go and cause them, the children of wickedness, to turn against each other, cause them to fight against each other in a battle, destroy each other. It go the same thing right here. Chapter 14 says, and it came to pass in the days of Ormaphal, that's Nimrod, the giant, children of the wickedness, of the wicked ones, Shinar, Iraq, these are cities, these kings, Tidal, king of the nation, that these made war with Barak, two different nations, two different groups of people. So when you go and do your research on this, just Google verse 3, and these were joined together in the Vale of Siddim. That's where the battle happened at. The Vale is, and it's called a thousand giant war. So he calls right here, they turn in against each other. That's where a lot of the giants got annihilated at right here, just like when he brought the flood. He brought the flood to get rid of giants. So he calls them to fight against each other. So I'm in chapter 9, Enoch 10 and verse 9. Send them one against the other, that they may destroy each other in battle. For length of days shall they not have. And no request that their fathers make of thee shall be granted unto their fathers, or on their behalf. For they hope to live an eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. And the Lord said unto Michael, go, bind some Joseph and his associates, who have united themselves with women, so as to have defiled themselves with them in all their uncleanness. And when their sons have slain one another, see that, there you go again. He calls this, when their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, until the day of their judgment and their consummation, until the judgment that is forever and ever is consummated. In those days they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison in which they shall be confined forever. And whosoever shall be condemned and destroyed will from thenceforth be bound together with them to the ends of all generations. So right here we see this abyss, the fire, and all that was for these right here. These fallen angels came down and created these other beings on the earth that Most High didn't authorize. So hell The hellfire, all that was for them. But anybody else that want to go along with them and join in with them, they going to get part of it too. That's what he's telling you right here in verse 14. And whosoever shall be condemned and destroyed will from thenceforth be bound together with them to the ends of all generations, and destroy all the spirits. Look at this. Destroy all the spirits of the reprobates and the children of the watchers, because they have wronged mankind. So when the giant died, that spirit, you know, the spirit don't die. The giant died, the body died. So that's how you get an evil spirit. So he's telling Michael right here, and he said, destroy all the spirits of the reprobates and the children of the watchers. So not only did they get rid of the giants that was living, but the spirit of the giants that had died, they had to get rid of that. Those angels had to get rid of those two. 16. Destroy all the evil from the face of the earth, and let every evil work, see that, come to an end, and let the plant of righteousness and truth appear, and it shall prove a blessing, and the works of righteousness and truth shall be planted in truth and joy forevermore. And then shall all the righteous escape, and shall live until they begot thousands of children, and all the days of their youth and their old age shall they complete in peace. And then shall the whole earth be covered in righteousness, and shall be planted with trees, and be full of blessings, and all desirable trees shall be planted on it, and they shall plant vines on it, and the vines which they plant thereon shall yield wine in abundance. And as for all the seed which is sown therein, each measure of it shall bear 1,000, and each measure of olives shall yield 10 presses of oil. And cleanse thou the earth from all oppression, and from all unrighteousness, and from all sin, and from all godlessness, and all uncleanness that is wrought upon the earth. Destroy them from off the earth. And all the children of men shall become righteous, and all the nations shall offer adorations, and shall praise me, and all shall worship me. And the earth shall be cleansed from all defilement, and from all sin, from all punishment, and from all torment. And I will never again send upon it from generation to generation, and forever. Okay, so that was chapter 10. Anybody got any comments on that? Okay, everybody good? So I'm gonna read it. It's only 2 verses in chapter 11 and 6 verses in chapter 12. I'm gonna read 11 and 12. And in those days I will open the store chambers of blessings which are in the heavens, so as to send them down upon the earth over the works of labor of the children of men, and through the peace shall be associated together throughout all the days of the world, and throughout all the generations of men. Before these things, see, we go right here, what I was talking about. This is where they get Jesus being hidden at. Before these things, Enoch was hidden. See, Enoch the son of man. Enoch was hidden, and no one of the children of men knew where he was hidden, and where he's about, and what had become of him. This is where they get JC hid at, right here. So 2, and his activities had to do with the watchers, and his days were with the holy ones. And the holy ones, that's the 7. And I, Enoch, was blessing the Lord of majesty and the King of the ages. And lo, the watchers called me and said to me, Enoch, thou scribe of righteousness, go, declare to the watchers of heaven, who have left the high heavens, the holy eternal place, and have defiled themselves with women, and have done as the children of the earth do, and have taken unto themselves wives. Ye have wrought great destruction on the earth, and ye shall have no peace nor forgiveness of sin, inasmuch as they delight themselves in their children, the murder of their beloved ones shall they see, and over the destruction of their children shall they lament, and shall make supplication unto eternity, but mercy and peace shall ye not obtain. So what I want you to understand is, you got these 7 holy angels that's in heaven, right? But look what he tell him in verse 5 and 6. Yeah, wrought, he told Enoch to tell the fallen angels this. Ye have wrought great destruction on earth, and ye shall have no peace, nor forgiveness of sin, and insomuch as they delight themselves in their children. Then here we go, verse 6. He's talking to these holy angels, right? The murder of their beloved ones shall ye see. Who gonna murder? These 7 angels. They the ones gonna cause the murder, right? So he says, the murder of their beloved ones shall they see, and over the destruction of their children shall they lament, and shall make supplications until eternity. But mercy and peace shall ye not obtain. Okay. So that gave us another rendition of why these angels operate. And like I said, what's righteous and what's not righteous. And gave people, Christian, a bad interpretation of what they, the meaning of these things. Gave you another definition. Any comments on anything before we jet up? Anybody got any comments? Questions? Okay. I'll play a little bit of this on my way out. It's some sayings of Julius Caesar, just to get a feel for what his mindset.
It is impossible not to become what others believe you are.
Julius Caesar.
Things invisible, hidden, and unknown rise up in us in both great faith and the strongest fear. Experience is the teacher of all things. I love the name of honor more than I fear death. Without training, they lacked knowledge. Without knowledge, they lacked confidence. Without confidence, they lacked victory. If you must break the law, do it to seize power. In all other cases, observe it.
Okay, this is what happened to us right here. Let's hear that again. We'll get out of here.
Of life. It is easier to find men who will volunteer to die than to find those who are willing to endure pain with patience. I came to Rome when it was a city of stone, and left it a city of marble. I came, I saw, I conquered. In war, events of importance are the results of trivial causes. It is not these well-fed, long-haired men that I fear, but the pale and the hungry-looking. Human nature is universally imbued with a desire for liberty and a hatred for servitude.
Okay, so with that being said, I was going to say shalom, shalom, and another shalom. I see we got a men's night tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Women can come in through YouTube. So I'll see everybody tomorrow. Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Shalom.